I think we're all here because we all believe in the importance of free speech and free expression online and everywhere. We are joined today by foreign ministers from many places in the world, very distinguished ambassadors here in the front row, and we're joined in a spirit to fight people who want to shut down free speech. It makes easy sense for a government to say, we don't like that, we're going to curtail that, we're going to shut it down, we're going to censor it. But we believe, and we organized this conference with the Dutch government, with your help, to make a point that this is not right, that the world is a better place with the kind of principles that you're going to hear and we're going to talk about for the next hour or so.
For centuries, freedom of speech has been the driver of democracy, and the fight to ascertain it continues. In the last decades, however, it has taken on an extra dimension, that of freedom online. Freedom of speech online is surely as crucial today as freedom of speech offline. And it directly derives from Article 19 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The new factor, though, is novel technology and, indeed, a much faster pace. Internet, indeed, compresses time and space. It is with us immediately, and it is immediately with us from all over the globe. On the other hand, online technology can make life difficult for those exercising censorship. We should not make their life easier by providing them with filter technology. And here I do strongly believe, with, for instance, Google, in corporate social responsibility. I strongly believe in codes of conduct, such as the Global Network Initiative, the Internet Rights and Principles Coalition, and not to forget the Silicon Valley Standard. Several IT companies and search engines, and apart from Google, for instance, Yahoo, have already taken excellent initiatives. And then, for example, Google and Twitter, which quite concretely, during the uprising, helped Egyptians tell the world what was going on by converting voicemail into tweets, a very enabling device. Over the next 4 years, 5 million euros from our Human Rights Fund will go towards projects promoting internet freedom. And targeted countries include, for instance, Zimbabwe, Syria, and Iran. To conclude, the internet is a public space par excellence, and we should honor it and we should protect it. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a pleasure to join you here today to discuss this issue because we think it is vitally important to every nation represented and every nation in the world, namely internet freedom. And I want to thank Uri and the Netherlands for hosting this conference, which is a reflection of your long tradition of defending and advancing people's human rights and fundamental freedoms everywhere, including online. This is an urgent task. It is most urgent, of course, for those around the world whose words are now censored, who are imprisoned because of what they or others have written online, who are blocked from accessing entire categories of internet content, or who are being tracked by governments seeking to keep them from connecting with one another. In Syria, a blogger named Anas Omarawi was arrested on July 1st after demanding that President Assad leave. He's not been charged with anything, but he remains in detention. What we do today to preserve fundamental freedoms online will have a profound effect on the next generation of users. More than 2 billion people are now connected to the internet, but in the next 20 years, that number will more than double. And we are quickly approaching the day when more than 1 billion people are using the internet in repressive countries. The pledges we make and the actions we take today can help us determine whether that number grows or shrinks, or whether the meaning of being on the internet is totally distorted. The challenge of maintaining security and of combating cybercrime, such as the theft of intellectual property, are real, a point I underscore whenever I discuss these issues. There are predators, terrorists, traffickers on the internet, malign actors plotting cyber attacks, and they all need to be stopped. We can do that by working together without compromising the global network, its dynamism, or our principles. The Committee to Protect Journalists recently reported that of all the writers, editors, and photojournalists now imprisoned around the world, nearly half are online journalists. The threat is very real. Now, several of us already provide support, including financial support, to activists and bloggers. And I was pleased that the EU recently announced new funding for that purpose. And I know that other governments, including the Netherlands, are also looking for ways to help out. By coordinating our efforts, we can make them go further and help more people. Our government will continue to work very hard to get around every barrier that repressive governments put up. Because governments that have erected barriers will eventually find themselves boxed in, and they will face the dictator's dilemma. They will have to choose between letting the walls fall or paying the price for keeping them standing by resorting to greater oppression and to escalating the opportunity cost of missing out on the ideas that have been blocked and the people who have been disappeared. I urge countries everywhere, instead of that alternative dark vision, join us here today in the bet that we are making. A bet that an open internet will lead to stronger, more prosperous countries. We will preserve the internet as open and secure for all. On the eve of Human Rights Day, this meeting reminds us of the timeless principles that should be our North Star. And a look at the world around us and the way it is changing reminds us there is no autopilot steering us forward. We have to work in good faith and engage in honest debate, and we have to join together to solve the challenges and seize the opportunities of this exciting digital age. Thank you all for being committed to that goal and that vision. The United States pledges our support and our partnership going forward. Thank you all very much.
You're probably, of all the European leaders I know, you are the most active in terms of blogger, Twitter, online reputation. I don't know why this is, but I've always, and I actually follow you, so go ahead. Talk a little bit about why this is important to you.
Well, the reason is probably because Sweden has been a country in the forefront of this revolution, be that the internet, be that telecommunications, or be that the mobility. And accordingly, we have confronted some of the difficult issues fairly early. Okay. We've seen all of the positive effects of it, but also some of the issues that has been alluded to here, cybersecurity and others. And let me just say one word about that, because this is a conference devoted to net freedom. That's a good thing. But if you take the relationship in the world today between conferences on net freedom and on cybersecurity, it's roughly 1 to 10. And I'm not against cybersecurity, neither are you, for obvious, commercial,
it's clearly
as well
important. It's important to have.
Extremely important.
Yeah.
But what I'm somewhat concerned with is that we separate the two. That we develop a community for cybersecurity and a community for internet freedom, and then we got two civilizations going off in different directions.
The hundreds of journalists and human rights activists that are incarcerated, tortured, cyber dissidents, silenced, and killed in countries that do not reach the public domain at the moment. I speak about countries like Russia, Eritrea, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan. In these countries, public dissent has totally disappeared from view, and democracy has become a sorry excuse. So I'm sometimes afraid that with the proliferation of all this technology, in fact, the internet could become a very effective way for the enemies of freedom of expression and freedom of the press to attack dissident voices. And we need to stop this.